Hello viewers, and with us today is a gentleman that I've always wanted to have an interview with, probably even outside of In the Hot Seat. The man I'm speaking about is Mr. Andre Hylton of Andre Auto fame. Okay? Now we're going to, take the opportunity to find out who is this man, what work that he did in his constituency, and also his views on things probably outside of his constituency. So join me when we return for In the Hot Seat. Do you need your wedding videotaped? Do you need a commercial or an interview done? Then call Sunshine Video Production. We videotape and edit functions, graduations, stage shows, music videos, and even funerals. We have a video studio and offer help with your marketing and promotional planning. So WhatsApp or call us at 883-0525. Viewers, welcome back. Right? So as I said before, gentleman that we wanted to interview a long time, he's here. All protocols observed. We are enough distance away, sir. All right. Mr. Hylton, though at this present moment you are not, well, you're in my hot seat, but you were in a hot seat before. Now you are waiting and seeing what is going to happen at your next venture in. But still yet, we want to find out just who is Andre Hylton. First question we normally ask, where are you born? Where are you, originally from? Which school you went to?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ian, and it's really a pleasure being here. It's a long time in coming.
All right, sir.
But it is indeed my pleasure to be here and to share with your viewers my thoughts and so on, Andre Hylton is a country boy.
Okay.
So I was born in a district called Newport in St. Catherine. And that's when you go to Bogwalk, you turn right, you go Riversdale. Then you turn right again at Natural Bridge and you go to Williamsfield.
Okay.
Then you turn left at Harewood up into a district called Newport.
Okay.
So I was born and raised in that community. So I'm a really country boy. Went to Harewood Secondary School in St. Catherine. And then I came to Kingston and finished my education. Now when we say country now, we're talking about the days when you had stone road.
Okay.
No asphalted road, no electric light, no running water.
All right.
So you had to go to the river for water. You had to run 3 miles barefooted on stone road to school in the mornings. And you had to use the home sweet home kerosene lamp. Yes?
All right.
So that's the kind of country life I'm talking about, not the fancy ones now with water heater and electricity. So I'm a country boy at heart. But I came to Kingston as a teenager.
All right.
And dropped out of school and started working at 16 years old. And,
Okay.
and then it went on and on.
Okay,
and on.
okay. Well, while you mentioned about schooling and so on, but what would have been your first job when you started to work?
Well, at 4 days after my 16th birthday, I got my first job at Mitchell's Auto Supplies, which was on Agley Park Road.
That answers a lot of questions, no?
Well, I tell you this, it was on Orange Street in those days.
Okay.
Right? And I was 16 at the time, and I started as a youngster because I said my parents had it rough, and I decided I want to go to work and then to finish my education. So 4 days after my 16th birthday, I started my journey to learn the auto parts business.
Okay.
So, and I remember my first pay was $25. Now, $25 is a lot of money in those days. But being I never realized I was poor. Looking back at it now, I could say I was poor. I never thought of myself as poor. But I had one good, what you call Sunday best. that I could wear to work,
Okay.
which I had to wash on Wednesday evening, put to dry behind the fridge on Wednesday night, iron it Thursday morning, and wear it back to work on Thursday.
Okay.
So one polyester pants, a brown polyester pants. So my first $25 I went to West Parade at Manhattan House and bought myself my first pair of jeans. Yes, at 16 years old I bought myself my first pair of jeans from my first paycheck.
All right.
By the second paycheck now, I bought 2 shirts and I was on my way. Then I started saving $10 a week.
Okay.
And, you know, just started
I
getting
wouldn't
serious
say
about
poor,
it.
you mean humble.
Humble beginnings. But, you know, when based on what people call it, not to be poor, you know, but nice country life, man. Good country life, came to Kingston, started working early. And by 17, I decided I was to bank with the credit union.
Okay.
Church's credit union back in those days. And I went to them and told them I wanted a loan because I want to move out of my mother's house and buy furniture. So they said, no, you're underage. But I said, how can I be underage and you're taking my money?
Yeah, all right.
So I can't. I have a job and you're taking my money. You must give me a loan. I have a steady job. They eventually gave me the loan at 17 years old.
All right.
And I bought my first bed, my first second-hand stove, my first...
So you also showed that you have some negotiating skills.
Yes, man. At 17.
At 17.
So I moved out of no one in the master stable, but I told my mother I wanted to be on my own. And looking back at it now, it's probably a madman. But that's how independent-minded I was. And I wanted to make life. I wanted to be my own man, and I wanted to stand on my own feet.
Okay.
And I got good support from my family. My mother gave me pot and pan, and my sisters made curtains for me.
Okay.
And I moved out next door to my mother's house, rent a room. I was on my own at 17.
Okay.
So that's how it is. And then eventually, at age 19, I started my business with $40 and a bicycle.
All right, but before we start there, one of the questions I would like to find out, you have already spoken to the fact that you had a good family support system right away,
Yes.
you know, which would have helped you to make those type of decisions and so on. But outside of your family, are there persons who at that age you feel, well, would have made that type of positive impact on your life that weren't family members?
Oh yes, because I was a ardent churchgoer, and we had a lot of support from the church. So from that standpoint, straight off, you had good support as well.
Okay.
You know, no man is an island, and no matter.
Who want some names for the viewers? Who want some names?
Well, I tell you, I attended the United Pentecostal Church on Wildman Street. I grew up as an Adventist, and I went to the Pentecostal Church. So we had Pastor Samuel Stewart, who was very supportive. Karen Shirley was my very good friend, who was very supportive. And many others. There are so many church brothers and sisters at the time who really supported me. And even when I started business, were very supportive.
Okay.
But more importantly, my family, I have 7 sisters, 2 brothers.
That's a lot of sisters.
Yes, and generally they've been very, very supportive. My mother was very, very supportive of me, my father. So I have to give thanks, you know. No man is an island.
Point taken. All right, so you have now, now we're moving to where you mentioned that you have started your business. What type of business was that?
Well, I started a car business, and oftentimes when I speak to, especially young people, about how to approach their lives, I always encourage young people to go the extra mile.
Okay.
And I say this to say, when I started my business, Japanese cars were not popular in Jamaica.
Okay.
I was a little young youth who, when you came into a Mitchell's and asked for a Toyota part or a Nissan, well, in those days they didn't call it Nissan, they called it Datsun. It was Datsun
Yes, it was
before,
Datsun.
right? And then Mitsubishi. The parts experts at the auto store.
Send them to Andre.
Send them, send them to little youth. So I was little youth in the parts store who would go in the warehouse and say, how can I help this customer? A man frustrated. When a man come and say, boy, you know, some have a cross and beer in them, and I can't find it. It is for Nissan, I can't find it nowhere. Nobody knows stock parts for Nissan in those days.
Yes, yeah.
I used to take it and go around the warehouse and match up the thing, man, and see if I can find something to work. Someday I find one, I say, listen, no, you have to remount the thing a little bit, take it to the machine shop, and so before you know it, people started coming back. And I started
You become an authority.
I became an expert on Japanese cars without even knowing, just trying to help the customer. And before you know it, when I left Mitchell's, people came to the parts store and said, where's the little youth? And then they start coming to my yard.
All right.
Because the man in the parts store said, look here, go check him up a Q road. And him can help you. So the message that I want to send to our young people is when you get a job, don't just go there at 8 o'clock and leave at 5 o'clock. Go the extra mile, because that's going to benefit you in the long run.
Yeah.
And it's because I went the extra mile for the customers that I gained the knowledge that made me, created the business that I have.
But at the end of the day, the customers can also feel the passion, you know,
Yes.
and the interest,
Oh, yes.
you know. They're
Yes.
not oblivious to the fact that, this guy really tried to help me out.
No, man, no, man. Yeah, man, you work hard, man, and you go and sometimes in a dusty warehouse and sign us a body, but you're still trying to find these things for the people. And they appreciate it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm going to segue to a little story. A little youngster by the name of Richard Grant. He lives in Portmore now, and he came as a little warehouse man who cleaned up my warehouse. Worked with me for many years. But every single evening before he left for home, I'm the last person to leave my office because I'm always doing work after work. He always comes into my office and knock and say, boss, I'm leaving now, you know. You need help with anything? I said, no, Richie, I'm fine, thank you. Every evening, when I'm finished clean up and straighten up, come into my office and say, boss, you need help with anything. And then one day I had a problem at my branch in Montego Bay, and I said to him, look, pack a bag tomorrow, we're going to Montego Bay for a few days. You know, if you said that to some youth, they say, boy, boss, you was, you know, may have some plans, you know, and this can do. He said, no problem, boss, consider it done. I took him to Montego Bay, realized that he had a lot of potential, trained him in the business of sales, left him in Montego. After about 3 weeks, I left him in Montego Bay, and he eventually became my branch manager, and then came back to Kingston as my parts manager. A little warehouse, you just learned fast because he put interest in the business. So my real message to our young people, don't be afraid of going the extra mile. It will pay off in the long run.
Point well taken. Point taken. And I'm quite sure a lot of them will appreciate it because that's applicable, you know, right across the board.
Yes, yes. In any phase of life, anywhere you go, people will appreciate you, especially now.
Because it really isn't that prevalent now, you know.
No. Man, 5 o'clock in fish work at 5. Not going a minute after. And that's unfortunate, you know. But going the extra mile makes a big difference.
Okay. Is there any book that you have read, anything, what I'm asking for is, you know, something that you would have, that you can point to, separate from your personal experiences, where like a book or something like that you have watched that you feel is inspirational, and you would implore, you know, one of our viewers to also take a look at it.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, it's fun. I mean, this may sound like cliche, but one of the fundamental books I've read is the Bible.
Okay.
And it's always been a guide, even today. But there's some other books that I've read. A small little book called The Prophet by Khalil Gibran.
Okay.
Really interested. It's more poetry / philosophy, where you understand it. It really speaks to a lot of inner philosophies of life. Alvin Day did an interesting book that I liked. He's a local writer, but it's a very popular book. Okay. If Butterflies Can Fly. so can I.
Okay.
And when I got into business, I did a lot of study after I went into business. And one of the books I really fell in love with is The World's Greatest Salesman.
Okay. Who is that? Leah Cook?
O.G. Mandingo, I believe it was.
Okay.
But
Okay.
very powerful book. I don't like long books. And of course, being in politics, I've read a few of Norman Manley's, the one that Rex Neckleford did, and then the other one that Arnold Bertram did, Norman Manley Making of New Jamaica. And of course, I've read one or two of Michael Manley's books. And they give you some interesting perspective, especially one on Norman Manley and the New Jamaica. It gives you a perspective not just about the PNP and Norman Manley, but the times in which he existed, from his father coming up through during that time. Some of the evolutions in the politics and what happened in Jamaica. It was a real interesting.
You see, what I want to implore a lot of our viewers and so on is it's nice to be aware of what's happening with social media and all that type of thing.
Yes.
But I find that when someone has goes old school and read a book, there is such a wealth of perspective and things that you can get out of a book. And while with a book, if the internet gone, the book still work.
Yes, yes. But you can get the book on the internet.
I know, but what I mean is, that type of old technology. I see where it still has power.
Well, I will tell you, interestingly, I try to keep up with the technology. So
no,
nowadays,
I'm a tech person,
Yes, of course. And what I try to do, first of all, I encourage every progressive person in this country, at least once a year, read a book. Once a year.
Yeah.
Once a year, try and read a book. And my father told me many years ago, any little piece of paper with something right on it, read it. Some information is on it.
That's why it was written down.
That is right. But now I read book online. I read books online now, so it's not. I'm not saying that I have a hardcore book. Up to this morning I was online reading a book.
Okay.
Right. The point is, you must inform yourself. You have to learn a whole lot to realize how little you really know. Look here. Remember,
I like that statement.
Let me tell you something, man. The world is huge. Knowledge is endless. So therefore, we should seek knowledge, and not forget the present while we seek the new knowledge out there. Don't forget to appreciate the present.
And based on that, we're going to go for a quick break. Viewers, we'll be right back. Do you need your wedding videotaped? Do you need a commercial or an interview done? Then call Sunshine Video Production. We videotape and edit functions, graduations, stage shows, music videos, and even funerals. We have a video studio and offer help with your marketing and promotional planning. So WhatsApp or call us at 883-0525. Viewers, welcome back. We're here with businessman and former MP, Andre Hylton. Mr. Hylton, our viewers who know you as, Mr. Auto Parts, would also want to know what would have sparked your interest in politics. Why would have, to make that segue or that movement into politics after being a renowned person as far as car parts and so on is concerned. What would have stimulated that? What was the catalyst for that?
Well, I think it's a natural evolution. And I tell you why. I've always been involved with service.
Okay.
So when I started making money as a youngster, I got involved with the community around my business place, and I started adopting basic schools. We started a foundation with a fine group of friends of mine called Guiding Light, which focused on kids at the formative years. It would involve mentorship, it involved paying school fees, it involved taking the kids out on various kind of explorations that was educational and so on. And then I met Dr. Peter Phillips, who heard my name in the community,
Okay.
and maybe wondered who the hell this man is. All these people, mother and old lady, they're calling me Uncle Andre, you know. But and then he asked me to chair a foundation of his Future Vision Foundation, and so I sort of got closer to politics and,
Okay.
and understood that really what politics is about is the same thing that I'm doing, but on a broader scale. And then, of course, later on, Philip Powell has always been my friend, and many other politicians. I've supported him as a business, both JLP and PNP. As a businessman, I supported MPs from the Jamaica Labour Party side and from the PNP side. But persons like Paul was my friend and other persons, and I got more intimate with the politics and understood that I, in fact, can serve Jamaica from a political stage, and even more effectively if your heart and mind is in the right place. So I got it. I don't think I found politics. I think politics found me.
Okay.
Now I'm going to say this, and it's very important, like a lot of young people out there. Boy, I'm in up to yesterday, I started so young. Boy, I'm into politics. Not into politics. I said to them, you know, if and this is a very, very important thing, if the people in this country who are intelligent, progressive, and that means Jamaica well, would get enumerated and come out and vote intelligently on election day, Jamaican politicians will wake up. Politics is too important to be left only to politicians.
Point taken.
So the problem that we have now is that, like when I was young, I never wanted to do politics. No, boy, I'm in politics. But I realized that politics is too important to be left only to politicians. You have to get involved.
You have to be engaged.
Hold on, election day, you don't have to put on an orange shirt, you know. You can put on a white shirt and go out and put your ex beside,
whatever.
Of course, the head.
All right.
I must say the head. But go out and vote for policies, not for politics. When you call the police because somebody breaking yours, you want them to respond. When your grandmother goes to the hospital and needs care, you need a healthcare system that will take care of you and your family. When your children goes to school, you want to be guaranteed that they get a sound education. It is not about orange and green and the ray and the festivity of politics. It is about the policies of the political party. And I really want to encourage Jamaicans, go out and vote, irrespective of who you vote for, but make sure you're voting. And I say one last thing to young people, that our foreparents died, suffered greatly, so that we, their great-great-grandchildren, could have a choice. Let us respect what they did for us.
The sacrifices they made.
Yes, man, and let us go out and exercise that choice and vote. If every single Jamaican goes out and vote, politicians will realize that there are far more forward-thinking Jamaicans than persons who are looking a little change to go vote. So you see, the real Jamaicans step out and decide them to go vote. No man can't come with no 5,000 to come buy no vote. And politicians will realize that there are real forward-thinking Jamaicans who are interested in the development of their country, who are going to vote them out if they don't do well, or keep them in if they are doing well.
And demand better.
But that's what the vote is about. If I vote in a government and they're not doing well, vote them out. And if they're doing well, keep them in.
Point.
But if you only leave it to a man, to the few who just looking at like a change, we are doomed. There are more good persons in Jamaica than bad. And so it is. What we need is Jamaicans who are motivated to vote. They don't like what the politics is about, and so they don't vote. So to answer your question, I got involved in politics because some of the things I did on the field of charity, I believe if I went to Parliament, that I could do a lot more for the people. So as member of Parliament, when I went to Eastern St. Andrew, I'm helping 800 persons annually with educational grants. And these are JLP people and PMP people. And what really is nice to hear is when a person says, boy, I know Mr. Hylton, me a PMP all my life, you know. And you are the first MP ever give me anything for my children. Or somebody labor and say, boy, Mr. Hylton, me a labor all my life, you know. And you are the first person who ever give me something for my children. And so I don't, in a labor at our PMP, people pick me up to go to school with them labor at our PMP.
Yes.
And so my reason for going into politics is genuinely to serve. And that's how I have approached it, and that's how I remain. And if I continue, it's going to be on that basis.
All right, all right. Well, that leads me into my next question. While you were in the seat as the member of parliament,
the hot seat.
as member of parliament, could you give me an idea of some of the projects that you worked on while you were there? Well, we have been segueing into that question, you know. Yes,
certainly. Well, in Eastern St. Anne's, one of the first major project I did was there was a gully in Goldsmithville that led to the Hope River. Mm-hmm. On both sides of the gully, we had persons that were living. Mm-hmm. Legitimate, had their titles, but the gully started to break away and their homes were threatened. Mm-hmm. I mean, really bad. And we had a discussion with the then Transport Minister, Omar Davis, mm-hmm. and we did that major infrastructure renewal in 2012. Okay. The people in Goldsmithville never knew it was going to happen. Okay. They never, and I'll tell you, sometimes people just lose faith in politicians.
Yes.
When they see it happen, they say, boy, I'm myself, I can't believe you do that, and that get done. But that's one of the major things. I had a youngster in Tavern, and when we spoke about the bridge that led over to Kentire Tavern, mm-hmm. a youngster who's born in a Jamaica Labour Party family said, Mr. Hylton, if you fix that bridge there, next election, everybody in my house and vote for PMP. Because I mean, I believe enough of them come here and say they're going to fix it. And Damian Crawford was the MP in Reese Rural, and I was on this side. Mm-hmm. We both got together, and we got the bridge done. And let me tell you, up to today, that youngster and I are very good friends. He never knew a politician would keep his word. Yes? Some of the projects that has affected people's lives for years, when there's a hurricane, they can't go over, they can't cross the bridge, and so on. Places like Spanish Town, here's a Spanish Town, mm-hmm. in Jarrett, down by Warwick Hills there, never had no road. People said, boy, now me can walk out of my yard with my Chris shoes and go to church. They never had a road. We made a road for them. Places like Mona Commons, people have lived there for 50 years. And we decided with the university mm-hmm. and the Ministry of Works that we can find a way to build a proper system and settle the people there. Those were things that we negotiated for. The unfortunate and regretful thing is that we had a plan to do a university town in Papine.
Okay. And
we worked with UTEC, the University of the West Indies, the various stakeholders in developing Papine. Look here, 7 tertiary institutions in and around
that small area.
The 2 largest universities in the Caribbean. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to make a real university town in Papine. Some people caught on to it, but that just kind of died. I have not seen much since then.
Okay.
The other great achievement, I believe, I mean, I can't tell a little infrastructure thing, whether it's Standpipe, whether it's Beverly Hills, whether it's Mona Heights, we do all the roads, we created sidewalks for the persons with disability going down to the Cheshire Village and Sir John Golding centers. We did a lot. I mean, there's so many. I can name 150 things that we did in 4 years. But one of the things that I think stood out, and it's something I have been, I've been talking about it in recent time, is the Zero murder in Augustown, which happened in 2016. When I went to Augustown in the 2007, 2008, we had sometimes 30 murders per year. We brought that down. Before I became MP, I started working with the various stakeholders, the PMI, the church, the police, the youths on the corner, the homeowners, and of course, Albin Bartlett, who was a member of parliament then, was part of it. I invited him. Mm-hmm. And so we decided to have discussions about how we can make this place a peaceful place. And let me tell you, over a period of time, we brought in Sizzler, we brought in major stakeholders to be a part of this discussion. And what was most important, we brought in the youths on the corner. I remember through our little organization, we got 2 coaster buses of youngsters, corner youths, to go to Halfway Tree Police Station to meet with the police. Not the police creep them up, you know. This is you now having a meeting to discuss and let them understand that they have a responsibility. Now, and I can't tell you all of the things that we did, but it mean what it taught me is if you use the office of Member of Parliament, that not a gun business with nobody and take no side. I deal with labor right areas, PNP areas, youths, the people, share a vision with them to say, without gunshots, without violence, this community can make money. We can have students living in Augustown, yes? The students will support the dance, they will support the wholesales, they will rent the room in your mother's house, you're bringing in money in the community. And everybody can be happy. You share that vision with them, and it worked. 2015, we only had 1 murder. And in 2 weeks, the perpetrators were brought to justice. Well, brought to the stage of being arrested. Yes? In 2016, PNP lost in February 2016, and the Jamaica Labour Party claimed and celebrated the zero murder. But it took years of work with the peace builders, with the community leaders, with the elders, with the youths, everybody, the women, everybody came together and said, look here, we're sick and tired of violence, but it takes hard work. And more importantly, it takes hard work to maintain it. Because when man and man start a problem, and they have to know who to call and say, call in them man and tell them to squash it. Because the youth sometimes them need guidance. Man have them like an ego problem, and someone will sit them down and say, look here, easy now, that can't happen. Sometimes the police have to call him in and say, look here, cut the foolishness. If we don't have that kind of real, genuine community involvement and oneness, if we have it, we can solve crime in Jamaica. Police can't solve crime in Jamaica. Police need plenty help. And as a politician, as a member of parliament, I use that office to galvanize people together.
But wouldn't you say that the problem, generally speaking, is that people see crime as a end-all and not realize that it's usually the symptom of other things that are happening?
Yeah.
Right? If you just see the crime, the shooting, if you see the murder as though it's just something abstract that just happened by itself, then you'll never look at what is the root cause of the issue.
Well, the same thing. But since I left, I lost the seat, and Flavor Williams is now the MP, and I think she means well. But problems start developing among one section of the community to another section, and nobody intervened. And so it was festered, and before you know it, a stab wound by one person to another person from another community become now a murder. And then that one murder, reprisal, is 2 murders. Then from 2 murders to 10 murders. I mean, one day, they killed like about 8 people in Augustown just because nobody said, hey, let's put a lid on this right away. Let us deal with it.
No intervention.
No intervention. And that's what I think it's Member of Parliament is not their responsibility with solving crime, but they have to use their office to do their best in bringing the stakeholders together, including the police, to help to solve it. Because let me tell you something. I remember,
But that's just part of being a servant.
That's my point. I remember one night, police came to Augustown and beat up a wholesaler. And I was at an executive meeting. Peter Bunting was the Minister of National Security. And the people in the community called me as member and said, you have to come up here now because they're going to burn down the place. Because they were very upset about what the police did. And we went there. I told Peter Bunting, look, we have an emergency in Augustown, and give him his credit. He jumped out of the meeting with me and we went straight to Augustown. When we got to Augustown, there was a sea of people in front of the police station. And the both of us jumped up on the back of the police pickup, and we addressed the crowd. And we are here, we understood what their concerns were. That was Monday evening, so we're going to organize a meeting for Wednesday at the Augusttown Primary School. And by Wednesday evening, we had about 800 persons turned out to voice their concern. Out of that meeting, Peter Bunting realized that this arbitrary curfew around the island was making no sense. It was more hurting the good people than the bad. Because there was a politician who was willing to listen to the people. Once people realize that you're there for them and willing to listen to them, they will work with you. Okay. It's a partnership. Okay. Crime cannot be solved unless there's a genuine partnership with the people.
On that, we're going to have to take a quick. Do you need your wedding videotaped? Do you need a commercial or an interview done? Then call Sunshine Video Production. We videotape and edit functions, graduations, stage shows, music videos, and even funerals. We have a video studio and offer help with your marketing and promotional planning. So WhatsApp or call us at 883-0525. Hello viewers, and welcome to the final segment where we have businessman and former member of parliament, Andre Hylton. I must say that it has been an interesting interview so far, and it really leads into what the future, what are your interests and your perspectives outside of just the constituency work that you have done. Because one of the things I want to ask you is, when you are out there and you speak to a youngster who looks on you and says to you, Mr. Hylton, I'm not really seeing a reason why I'm going to get involved in politics, and why I should bother to even vote. What is your response to that youngster?
Well, we should bring back civics in school,
Point. Mm-hmm.
But we don't inspire our children. First of all, we need to inspire our young people to understand that Jamaica is your home. And despite the wide world that is outside there, and yes, some of us can go back to Africa where we are originally from, but our foreparents worked for 400 years without pay for this little rock called Jamaica. We need to claim it as our own and want the best for Jamaica and for our children and the generations to come. And we have to inspire young people to understand. I think they're a bit disillusioned about the politics, about whether they genuinely can do anything about what's happening. And some of the young people, well, what can I do? Maybe we can cuss on social media a little bit, or just don't bother. I say, I'm not into politics. But if you can show, if we can show, and I said we have to do it, to show our young people that they can make a change by being involved. And as I said earlier, the first thing that you do is get registered at the EOJ, and when election is called, get up in the morning, put on a white shirt, and go out and vote. And don't vote because of Ray, who kill a goat pan the corner and run the rum and boom. And it is about the policies that will affect your own life and the lives of your children and children's children. We must want Jamaica to be the best country in the world to live. And I would like our young people to really genuinely stop long out your tongue and want to go America. Enough people in America wish them about. I have family members who said to me, boy Andre, I wish I knew what I know now. I wouldn't be in America. Jamaica is a beautiful country that our foreparents worked for, Let us get involved and make it the country that it ought to be, right? So I know young people feel, and I can't kill them for that because the system has caused them to feel this way. But I'm encouraging them. No better, no there John shop. Jamaica is nice. The temperature is wonderful. The people are absolutely great. The geography of the country is great. The opportunities are greater than the United States because we're a developing country. So there are more opportunities here than in America. When in America you want to talk to the governor, you have to do a long time with a whole of money, a lot of connection. But you can talk to Ian, or you can talk to Zelka, want to meet the MP, or if you want to meet the Prime Minister. Of course, people have audience with the Prime Minister or with the MP because we are that close to where opportunities are. So we make Jamaica a great place. Vote, first of all, vote. I'm not saying to vote. I would like you to vote for PNP because I'm a PNP. But if you want to vote for JLP, at least vote. The fact is that vote for good policies that will make this place what it ought to be. And if you vote for a party and them now work, vote them out. It's a simple matter. I'm a PNP and I vote for PNP because I genuinely studied before I got involved with PNP. I studied politics, JLP and PNP. Knew what's in the heart and soul of the both parties. And I chose to be a PNP. But I can't tell them, and I know lots of my friends are JLP. I'm not saying that, hey, everybody has to be PNP. No. But what we want at the end of the day is not just a great political party. We want a great country. And so we must find the movement that has the policies that will create this Jamaica that we dream of.
So basically, if you don't stand up for something, if you don't, the first thing is that you need to get involved. You need to be engaged in the thing.
All persons in Jamaica, recognizing the sacrifice of our foreparents, recognizing where we're coming from the 50s, the 40s, the 60s, where Rastas had to hide from police. Now we have entertainers being Rastas. Rastafari, being recognized in the 70s as a legitimate religion, is now an international religion. Maybe it is the first religion, the only religion in the last 1,000 years that has developed, that has become international. I'm not saying that a Rasta have to come and vote, but Rasta have to recognize that, yes, the system has failed them in some regard, but it's the same system that saved them. Because one political leader came and said, we recognize Rastafari. We recognize that Rasta children can go to school because that's their religion and that's how they express themselves. It's the same politician who wrote, one used to shoot after them, right? And the massacre in Carl Guards, we understand that. But there's also a politician that says, hey, Rastafari is a legitimate religion and the people should be respected for their religion. So I'm saying to you, the political system must serve us, the people, for a better Jamaica. In no time, if we are serious about Jamaica, we can solve crime problem. In no time, if we are serious about Jamaica, we can solve the economic problem. And the both of them need to be solved simultaneously. If we as the people are serious, not the PNP and the JLP, we as the people. And there's enough people out there who are not interested in PNP, who's not interested in JLP, who's interested in Jamaica to say, hey, let us hold our politicians to account to do what we want them to do to make this place a better place.
Yeah, no, but at the end of the day, I remember a friend of mine saying, you get the politicians that you want.
Or you deserve.
Or you deserve. And if you want beard with bomber soap, beard with bomber soap.
That's why I said it's unfortunate that we have taken civics out of school, that we're not inspiring our young people to really dream of a beautiful Jamaica that they can achieve within their lifetime.
Okay.
Dream of a Jamaica. I like to talk about the Jamaica of my dream. And I wish before I pass on in this life that we'll achieve some of those things. And I'm going to do the little bit that I can to help, to inspire, to contribute, to make this place a better place.
Well, this also leads into my next question. Are there any political aspirations for Mr. Hylton?
Well, anything I get involved with, I like to do well in it.
Okay.
Years ago, I was invited to become a Rotarian. I tried my best to be a good Rotarian. I was honored to become president of the largest club in Jamaica. I was honored to serve as assistant governor. I started my own foundation. I've been involved in many organizations before I got into politics. I'm in politics now. It's a different world. Politics is different from politics is different from any other venture I have embarked on in my life. What's interesting, and I believe while it has some downsides, it has some upsides.
Mm-hmm.
Political aspirations. So worthless if I say I don't have any.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe I'm one of those persons who I serve where I'm called upon to serve.
Okay.
So I support the People's National Party,
Mm-hmm.
both because I believe in the policies of the People's National. I believe in the mission of the People's National Party. And wherever I'm called upon to serve, I will serve.
Okay. So that's basically what's next for
well,
Andre Hylton.
What's next is, well, I'm kind of refocusing on my business.
Okay.
You know, I've been in business for 40 years. I've founder of Andre's Auto, and we've been around for a long time. Many businesses don't pass 5 years. So God has been good, and I've been supported by Jamaicans to have kept the business open for 40 years. So I think I kind of neglected it a bit when I went into politics.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm now refocusing on Andre's Auto to bring it back to its or to help to rebuild it.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the missions. The mission is also to help to rebuild the People's National Party, because I still believe it is a political movement that is needed, a political movement that has a good heart for the people, and I believe should lead Jamaica to achieve the 2030 vision. So I will be, whatever the party wants me to do, I'm willing to work.
So you're still a part of the executive and so on?
Yes, I still serve the party at the executive level. I'm a member of the NEC.
We have been doing our research, you know.
Okay, good. But so right now I'm focusing on rebuilding my business, but I still serve my party and serve the people of Jamaica in whatever way I can.
Okay. So when called on, you'll be there to render service.
Yes.
All right. Well, viewers, I'm quite sure you were enamored by this interview. It is one that, as I said before, we have always wanted, and I'm quite sure that you'll see that at the end of the day, here is another person in the hot seat that didn't shrink away from the hot seat, all right, and is also very willing and very able to give service whenever called on.
Yes.
All right, so viewers, let me thank Mr. Hylton for being present, and I must say, stay tuned. We have a lot more interviews to come. Bye for now.